Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. I thought that we would have a quick look at some of the sweet peppers that I've grown this year. This should help you if you're trying to decide what peppers to order for next year, and just give you an idea of what you can grow in a short, cold climate like mine, which is Saskatchewan, Canada. I start my peppers indoors late February, and I grow them on until after my average last frost date, which is usually around the end of May, and then they get planted outside. I usually plant them in groups of two plants in the same hole, and then I space those holes about every foot apart, so they're packed pretty tightly. We don't have a lot of humidity in my climate, so I can do that, and they don't succumb to any fungal diseases or anything. If you have a lot more humidity, you probably want to space your peppers out a bit more. But I find here, where we do get a lot of wind, that the close planting, I think, helps protect the peppers from getting broken and damaged in the wind. Helps to hold them up a little bit, even though I do stake them for support. And I think planting them close together also helps with keeping sun scald from my peppers. We have a lot of intense hot sun normally, and that can damage your peppers, especially if you prune them up and keep a lot of the leaves off. So having them growing close together helps them to kind of protect the peppers themselves from sun scald. The varieties of peppers I grew this year are Sweet Lipstick. This is a beautiful dark, has one pointy end. It's this gorgeous, gorgeous dark color. And this is a slightly less mature one. So you see it still has a nice deep kind of purpley red tone to it. And then I have Candy Cane. And I don't know how well you can tell, but there is a slight variegation to the pepper. Slight striping, maybe you can tell on the end more there. And here's an immature one. The plants of the candy cane also have variegation. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit decorative, maybe you want to grow them in pots on your patio or deck or something, then the candy cane is a little bit of a more decorative looking plant as well, with the white variegation on the leaves. This is California Wonder. So it's a nice deep red, but not as dark as the Sweet Lipstick. And here it is, just kind of turning color. This is an early prolific, and it just has kind of some lumps on the sides, but it kind of comes down into a single point, whereas you see the California Wonder has multiple kind of points on the bottom. Again, nice beautiful red color. And here's one that's a little less mature. And this is one that was new for me this year. This is called Sweet Sunrise. It gets this gorgeous orange-yellow color. It's nice to have a little bit of variation in the color, so I'm glad I found this one. And here's a little bit less mature. So all of these peppers have obviously matured to their ripened color, or they're very close to being there. And that is when they're going to have the most flavor in them. And also, I believe, the highest concentrations of things like vitamin C and other nutrients. Peppers, if you don't know, are very high in vitamin C. I believe many of them higher than oranges. But you can still eat peppers at their immature or green stage. They just won't have that same sweet flavor, or in the case of hot peppers, that same bite to them, which is why a lot of people prefer to eat like jalapenos green instead of waiting for them to turn red. But for sweet peppers, if you wait for the color, you'll get a lot of rich sweetness in the pepper. So let's cut these open and we'll have a look at what they look like inside, and I'll give them a little taste. I don't know if it'll mean much to see me taste them for you, but I thought we'd do that, and then you can see my reaction to the taste. Now obviously I've tried all of these before, all but the Sweet Sunrise I've grown for several years now, but I thought maybe it would be helpful to you to hear what I think of the flavor as you're picking peppers for your next year. So we'll start over here with the Sweet Lipstick. This, I would have to say, is one of the sweetest peppers that I grow. and I really enjoy the flavor. So that's the inside. You can see the seed cavity. Lots of seeds tied up at the top. Has, say, fairly thick walls. Some varieties of pepper just naturally have a thinner wall. Some are thicker. And I think how well you water and fertilize your peppers will also affect how thick the wall is. So they have a really nice crunch. They're a nice crisp pepper, even though these have been sitting on my counter actually for a couple of days. I just keep them on my counter for short-term storage with a damp towel over top of them. I don't know how well you can see how much moisture content is in there, but they are very sweet. Yeah, there's your initial taste, like when you first bite into it, is very sugary, very sweet. There is a slight, I don't know if you'd call it a bitterness at the very back end of it, but it doesn't last. The sweetness lasts. So, like I said, one of my favorites. So I'm going to finish this and then we'll get on to the rest here. I don't know how well you can see it, but the color is so saturated that even the juices from the pepper leave a red juice behind. Okay, so the candy cane, these can get larger. They will stay quite skinny like this, but they can get a little bit longer. But towards the end of the season, as we are here, I'm in September, I find they tend to produce a little bit shorter. I don't know if that has to do with the light of the day or if I just water differently, the heat is different. I don't know. So there's the inside. You can see the pith, I think, is more prominent, and the seeds go down further into the pepper. They're not just concentrated right at the top. And it still has a pretty thick wall, but I'd say slightly thinner than the sweet lipstick. I don't know if the light shining through gives you a look at the variegation at all any better. So yeah, this one is still sweet, but it's not, like the sweetness doesn't just hit you when you bite into it. It still has like that kind of undertone of pepper, like what you would get from kind of like a green pepper, but just a little bit more sweetness. That might show you the thickness of the wall a little better. See how it's just a little bit thinner? And definitely not as sweet as the sweet lipstick. If you're looking for something really, really sweet, the sweet lipstick is definitely sweeter than the candy cane. But it does have a really nice pepper flavor with just that kind of mild sweetness to it that, you know, just gives you that little bit of a sweet aftertaste, not that kind of bitter pepper taste that you can get from like a green pepper. Okay, so here's the California Wonder. So there's the inside. Lots of heavy pith, but the seeds are all up at the top. And again, this has a decent thickness of the walls, but not super, super thick, but still a good thickness to it. So there you can see the wall maybe a little better. So this it's like a tougher texture, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't have that same kind of crispness when you bite into it. It's still crisp, but it takes more to bite through it, I guess. And again, it has that sweetness, but it still has the pepper flavor to it. Whereas the sweet lipstick has just like a really, really strong sweet taste. This has just the sweetness, but it still has a stronger, like just basic pepper flavor to it, if that makes sense. I'd say this is very similar in flavor to the candy cane. Yeah, there's nothing really distinctive about the flavor of this pepper. Okay, so here's the early prolific. When I first grew these, I didn't think they were a very good pepper. They didn't seem like they produced very well for me, but I found that they do better in a larger space. I thought it was supposed to be a smaller plant, and I'd planted in smaller pots, but this does get to be a good sized plant. So there's the inside. You see quite a, because of the way it does have the knobs on it, but they all come to one point. It really gets condensed inside, but the seeds are for the most part up at the top there. But again, quite a bit of the pith on the side. The walls on this pepper, I'd say, are thicker than the California Wonder. This is sweeter than the California Wonder. So there, I don't know how you can see the walls there, but I think they're a little bit thicker than the California Wonder. Yeah, it definitely has more sweetness than the California Wonder and the candy cane. You get less of that green pepper kind of flavor, but you get the sweetness. It definitely still has pepper flavor, obviously, but more sweetness. Again, not as much as a sweet lipstick, but if you're looking for maybe a larger bell that's not crazy sweet, but has some more sweetness to it, I think the Early Prolific would be a better choice than the California Wonder. Yeah, so the Early Prolific definitely has more of a sweet flavor, less of that kind of green pepper flavor. It's a really nice pepper. Now, because it comes to a point, if you're wanting it for a stuffed pepper, it's not going to work as well as the California Wonders because they have the feet, they'll stand up. But if you're just looking for fresh eating or, cutting into stir fries and whatnot, then this one would give you that extra sweetness that the California Wonder doesn't have. So let's try the Sweet Sunrise. I didn't get a lot of these peppers this year, but I think that's because of where I had them placed. I don't think they were getting as much sun. So again, a little bit narrower on the inside, lots of pith, seeds at the top, which is what you expect from a bell type pepper. I'd say a fairly good wall thickness. And yeah, this isn't that super, super sweet kind of flavor of a pepper, which I find a lot of times yellow peppers are like that. Orange peppers tend to get really sweet in my opinion, but yellows tend to not be as sweet. It's juicy. I don't know if you can see that. Lots of juice in this. Nice crisp texture, but again, it takes a good bite to bite through it. Yeah, this is the mildest in flavor, I'd say, of any of them. This has the mildest flavor for a pepper. It's not overwhelmingly sweet or overwhelmingly pepper, like green pepper kind of flavor to it. So yeah, it's just a nice mild flavor. If you're looking for a milder flavored pepper, this would be it. Okay, so even though they're all bell peppers, sweet bell peppers, they all have a little bit of a different flavor. I'd say the two with the closest flavor profile are the candy cane and the California Wonder. They are the most kind of, I would say, standard pepper flavor in my opinion. If you're looking for a really, really sweet pepper, I would definitely go for the sweet lipstick. It is really, it's almost like candy. I love that pepper. I eat a lot of my peppers just raw, just like I was for this video. So for me, that really sweet taste is a nice snacking pepper. If you're looking for something with a little bit of sweetness, but not that overpowering sweetness, then the early prolific might be your pepper. Again, keep in mind though, if you like to stuff your peppers, neither the early prolific or the sweet lipstick or obviously the skinny candy cane are going to work for that, because A, they don't stand up, and the two of them I think are just too narrow of a cavity anyways. Actually, the early prolific's too narrow of a cavity as well. And then if you just want a really mild pepper flavor, or just a pepper that, I don't know, here it seems like the peppers that I find for sale to grow here in my climate anyways, there's not a lot of these yellow peppers. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you have some great yellow or orange peppers that you grow in a short season, let me know, I'd love to hear. But for me, just to have that little bit of different color and a nice mild pepper flavor, this Sweet Sunrise is a really nice pepper, and I'll definitely be growing it again. I think after sitting down and doing this actual taste test, I might cut back and not do the California Wonder and just stick with the early prolific. We'll see if I remember that in late winter when I'm starting my seeds. So I am going to take you over and just show you the plants real quick. And I don't know if that'll help you to know anything. Like I said, that most of them are grouped in twos, but it'll show you what they look like at the end of the season here. Like I said, we're into September now. And so I'll just give you a quick look. I'll just put the name of the variety on the screen at the end of this video so you can see the plants if you want to see them. But otherwise, I'm done talking to you about these peppers. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. All of my pepper varieties are growing as multiple varieties in each container. So it'll just be the one that I'm focused on that is the one that is a variety I'm telling you about here. So this one right here is Sweet Sunrise. This is Sweet Lipstick. This is California Wonder. Early Prolific. And Candy Cane. Now, ignore the little hot matchbox chilies to the side there. Candy cane is this plant here. The variegated leaves. And like I said, the peppers seem to get smaller as the season progresses. Here's one that's fallen off the plant, but you can see that variegation.